What's up, everyone? Welcome into a new episode of That's Bingo Sports Podcast. I am Joe Hendry, joined here by my co-hosts, Kyle Eggers and Jacob Beach. Boys, how are we doing today?
Fantastic.
I'm Jacob Beach.
Good. Glad to hear you guys are doing well. It's been a bit since we recorded, but we were actually all together. Everyone, we were celebrating Kyle's future wedding at his bachelor party there. It was an electric weekend, man. We are washed at sports. We couldn't walk on Sunday morning after just a weekend of football, pickleball, basketball, you name it. We were doing it. We were playing football, and I threw an absolute dot to Beach, and he completely Quinn Johnstoned the ball in the end zone, just ruined my QBR for the day.
Bingo.
So thanks for that, Beachy.
You're welcome. That drop touchdown pass helped my team secure the win later, so it was cool.
You were on both teams, man.
I was, so it helped me secure my original team for the victory. I was a paid actor.
Beach had like 33 PPR points, so
he did.
And 12 solo tackles.
That little fade route you had, Beach, was pretty nice.
That was the slowest fade route in history.
That's good. Well, we got a fun show ahead for y'all. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. It's been a little bit of time since we recorded. Everybody's emotions have died down since then. And we're also going to dive into an inning-by-inning breakdown of today's Padres versus Dodgers spring training game. So No, we're actually going to be ranking ranking quarterbacks today. So super pumped for that. Should be a fun episode here. The boys are going to share who they have at the top of the league at the quarterback position. You guys are going to find out who we left out as well. So you fellas ready to jump into today?
Skull.
Let's do it. Well, the Super Bowl, gentlemen, the Kansas City Chiefs. We won't spend a ton of time on this, but the Kansas City Chiefs, 25-22 over the 49ers in overtime. Back-to-back Super Bowls for Kansas City. Pretty impressive. Hasn't been done in a long time. I have seen some people on Twitter say that this was one of the best Super Bowls that we've ever had. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that sentiment? Is that off?
Honestly, it felt like a really mid Super Bowl.
Go for it, Beach.
It just felt like a mid Super Bowl until like the fourth quarter when the game was close. And it was like coming down to the end, and then it got exciting. But like the first half was just kind of a snooze fest. It was whatever. But then it kind of stayed that way in the second half. But then because the game was just kind of back and forth and stayed close, it became more exciting. And then obviously overtime was a lot of fun, and seeing a game-winning touchdown drive and the Super Bowl ending on a touchdown is pretty cool. So
yeah,
I don't know if it's one of the best Super Bowls we've seen. I think there's been quite a few that are better. But it was a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel that. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you have to give it, top whatever number because it went to overtime. But like Beach said, I think it was a pretty boring first half. But it was a pretty electric finish. Nothing made me happier to see the Niners cry and act like they didn't know the rules. So, yeah, go Rams.
Yeah. Big time. And any overall takeaways or thoughts on the game that you guys walked away with after it?
I think it was so cool that Travis Kelce finally won one, and it's because of Taylor Swift.
I would agree.
You guys are
in all seriousness, I think it kind of felt like how I thought the game would go. Like San Francisco, is a very good team, and they did enough to stay in it. But at the end of the day, like they just weren't going to beat Mahomes with Brock Purdy. And there was just some plays, especially late, where Mahomes made some good throws. Andy Reid had some great play calls and some great schemes lined up, and then San Francisco just couldn't do anything with it. And then I also felt there were some throws that Purdy missed. Obviously, it wasn't all on Brock, and it wasn't all on the San Francisco offense, but I think a better quarterback there, just somebody that can be more dynamic, I think that would have helped them a lot.
I'm going to take the opposite stance, Speech. I think Purdy proved himself. I think he had a great game. But I think when I say proved himself, I don't mean he's like the best, like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just think a lot of people were like, oh, like Purdy's good for a 7th round pick. No, he's like a good quarterback. I think that this game, you can look at and be like, yeah, he's a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm right in the middle with that one. I think after a few plays in the Super Bowl or the playoffs in general, I think Purdy moved into probably the top half of the NFL quarterbacks for me. Probably near the bottom of the top half, but still, I think he's a good NFL quarterback who played well. But at the same time, I think to Beach's point, this game just proved even more so why superhero quarterbacks are necessary to win the Super Bowl, essentially. And ultimately, you can't just build around anybody and hope that the team can overcome their deficiencies. So it was exciting, though. Like you said, that second half was a lot of fun. The first half, I was having a blast because nobody was having fun. It was just boring and ugly, and I was super pumped on that because I didn't want either of those teams to win. But overall, exciting end to the season, ready for draft season, and pumped for the 2024 NFL season and the future Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Chargers.
All right, no. That's not going to happen.
Anything else from the Super Bowl before I move on?
No.
All right, good stuff. Well, we talked about quarterbacks a little bit already. Let's dive into our list, boys. We are going to rank our top 12 quarterbacks in the NFL. These rankings aren't really going to be like anything with future outlook. We're not taking any contracts, age into consideration. Essentially, it's who would you take to win a singular game today, right? It's who is better than who, point blank. There really is nothing else in there. Does that sound about right, fellas?
Yep, yes, Chef.
All right, good stuff. So I think we'll start with 1, and then we'll roll down all the way through 12. So let's kick it off.
With 6.
You're an idiot, Beach. Kyle, let's start with you, man. Let's kick us off here.
I'm gonna go Jake Browning.
All right.
No,
that's Bingo Dynasty legend, by the way.
That's a fact.
Shout out to Jake Browning.
This is going to be the most boring one ever. Patrick Mahomes. Go ahead. Correct. Your guys' turn to say Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
All right.
Yeah, this is the unanimous number 1. At least it should be on everyone's board at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. I mean, if you want to argue, that Mercury's in retrograde and that somehow like Lamar, Josh Allen can be better. I mean, sure, but yeah, no, Mahomes has to be number 1 on everybody's rankings.
Correct. Like the things that he could do on the field, I don't even think that sometimes Allen is capable of doing. It's just, I think he's in a tier by himself that I can what I call transcendent. Like nobody touches him, which is
3
so
Super Bowls already. He's in a class of his own, just like you said.
Yeah.
It sucks because he legitimately has like 10 years left. It literally sucks so much.
He's 28 years old, man.
He very well could catch Brady.
Yeah.
Dude, he just was able to rent a car 3 years ago for the first time.
That's wild, man. I was telling Kyle earlier, Beach, before you hopped on here, there's the 2020 season. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP, but I was looking at that because I was like, how did Mahomes not win it? He threw like 38 touchdown passes. His interception rate was 1. Like he threw 6 picks on the year, 4,700 yards, led the league in passing yards per game, and finished 3rd in MVP voting. Like it takes a really, really, really special kind of year to beat this guy in MVP in really anything, just in any given game. So Patrick Mahomes, number 1, unanimous. Well deserved. Number 2, Kyle.
Number 2. I feel like this is probably going to be unanimous if I had to guess as well, but I am going Josh Allen. I think that he is probably the best, like, true dual threat quarterback that's played in quite some time, and he's just like a bowling ball when he runs the ball, and he can sling the rock. He's had one of the cooler stories since he's came into the league. Like, he was pretty bad, and to see him kind of turn it around and turn Buffalo around has been sick. Josh Allen is my number 2.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement. I think Josh Allen, just like Joe said, he might not hit the highest peaks that Mahomes hits, but he can basically do everything you want a quarterback to do. He turns it a little he turns it over a little bit too much for my liking at times, but that's what you're going to get with a gunslinger like him. You're going to get some times where he's throwing the ball up, just trying to make a play, and it gets intercepted. And you live with those for the 9 other times he does that, and it makes a ridiculous play happen. So I'm with Kyle. I think Allen's the clear-cut number 2. You could make an argument for Lamar. You could make an argument for maybe Burrow. But, yeah, I think after the season Josh Allen just had and the playoff success he had as well, I think you got to go there.
Yep.
Yeah, same boat. Allen's number 2. Like I just don't. I think he's also in a tier of his own at 2. Beach, you said there could be arguments for other people. I don't think so. I think Allen is that clear cut number 2, and everybody makes that a big deal about those interceptions, which is like, again, interceptions aren't great, but I could just care less with the things that he does in the field. And Kyle, like you said, like he came in as a complete project. Like I don't know the last time we've seen a project quarterback come in that raw and then, given the amount of time he's had to succeed, turn into the kind of superstar that he is. So he's a lot of fun to watch. That's bingo.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I remember there was a game, gosh, it might have been like his 3rd year in the league or something like that, maybe even his 2nd, but I remember like he turned the corner on this run from like the 15, and he just hit the sideline and hit the Jets. And like at 6'5", 240, like you should not be moving that fast. And then he turned around the next drive and threw like a 75-yard bomb. So just he's awesome. I think he's got number 2 on lockdown for the foreseeable future, in my opinion.
Yep.
So cool. Well, those the top 2 unanimous. So let's see how long that'll continue here. Let's start with Kyle here for number 3.
Okay, Lamar Jackson is who I'm giving this to. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias, but I'm giving the NFL MVP the 3rd best quarterback in the league. I think that the only reason that he's not higher on this list is because he hasn't had as much playoff success as Josh Allen has had. But maybe this year is a sign of things changing. But yeah, I love Lamar. He's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in agreement at 3 as well. Guys have got 2 MVPs already. And just like Kyle said, if you would have had a little bit more playoff success, like if you would have beat Patrick Mahomes and got to the Super Bowl this year, I think you could make a legitimate case he should have been at 2. But he's come up short a few times in the playoffs, so just for that reason, I'm putting him at 3. But 2 MVPs, best running quarterback in the league that can also throw the ball extremely well now. He does basically, again, everything you want a quarterback to do.
Yeah, I mean, we're 3 for 3, fellas, here. Lamar Jackson, I love him. I think he is awesome. I go back. Like, everybody talks about his running. Like, he's got 2,000-yard seasons under his belt already. I think he's the best running quarterback we've ever seen. I don't really think that's a hot take either. But I go back to there was this one game, I think it was like 2021 or something like that. It was against the Colts, and they went down big early. And then he ended up throwing, like I got it pulled up, where he threw 37 completions on 43 attempts, 442 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, that is what he's capable of through the air. And to have the legs that he has as well, like, it's just, I honestly don't care about his playoff success or lack of at this point in his career. The dude is elite, and there's 2 people who I would take over him in the league right now. Like, he is just a fantastic quarterback, so much fun to watch. The things that he can do, I think are so unique. They just put so much stress on the defense. He's fantastic. So
I feel bad for the guy because he's probably one of these players who their legacy is going to take a big hit because he was in the AFC during the same time as Patrick Mahomes. Phillip Rivers type beat for a Joseph Hendry bingo. But yeah, Lamar's sick. Yeah.
What's crazy to me is that, like, this past offseason, before he signed his extension with Baltimore, like, there was an opportunity for a number of teams to go get him, and they just said no. Like, and then he just went and won the MVP again.
I will say, I don't think it was going to be like you would have had to really make something happen for him to leave Baltimore. Because even if you would have put an offer sheet out there, I think the Ravens would have matched it. And so I think that's what turned a lot of teams off, is they were like, well, I don't want to do all your work for you and then just have you match the contract. Like, That's the hard thing about being a restricted free agent. But yeah, like you said, there was an opportunity to try to get him and trade for him or sign and trade for him, and nobody really went after him, and so he just re-signed with Baltimore and then parlayed that into an MVP.
Yeah. No, I think also you would have had to give up like 2 first-round picks or something like that. But for what
at least
these top quarterbacks cost at the top of the draft now, that feels like a bargain for a dude that can win MVPs. Like if you are the Falcons and the Raiders, I think those were the 2 main teams that were interested. Like you cannot tell me that you would not give your 2 first-round picks for the next draft for Lamar Jackson right now. You know?
Yeah.
So that's wild to me that they were just like, no, we're good. But I bet Baltimore's happy now.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on to number 4. Beach, let's kick it off with you at number 4.
My number 4 spot is going to Mr. Burrowhead himself, Joe Burrow.
Whoa.
Joe Burrow.
He had a down year this year. He was injured with the wrist and, just wasn't his usual self, I think, because of the injuries. But when we've seen it, when he's healthy, the Bengals are a serious threat to go deep in the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what it looks like now that his rookie extension is coming to an end and they're going to have to start paying him bigger money. But I think he is just behind those other 3 guys that we've mentioned. He's really the only quarterback so far that's had any type of success against Patrick Mahomes that's not named Tom Brady. And he just seems to come up in the biggest moments and make big plays. His stats aren't always as eye-popping as maybe some of the other guys that are on the list. Sometimes, his numbers in, individual games aren't crazy, but every time you need him to make a drive, make a big play, it seems like he finds a way to do it, and that goes all the way back to his days at LSU. So at number 4, that's where I'm slotting him. I'm high on Joe Burrow.
All right, Joe Burrow for Beach at 4. Kyle, who you got?
This is going to be the most boring episode ever because I also have Joseph Lee Burrow at 4. Beach said it all. The only thing I will add is that when you have a nickname in college that's Big D Joe, you got to be him.
And he's him.
He is him. Rams still beating the Super Bowl, though. Go Rams.
That's also bingo.
That is fair.
Well, we have our first branch off here. My number 4 is none other than Justin Herbert.
I knew that was coming.
I don't. There is not one thing that Joe Burrow does better than Justin Herbert, and that is
except
factual.
win football games.
I will die on that hill. That is a team stat, Vichy. I will die on the hill that Joe Burrow does nothing better than Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is more talented. He's a better thrower of the football. He's put up better statistics than Joe Burrow really ever has.
What's his Super Bowl statistics?
Again, doesn't matter. We're taking who would win you a game right now, and Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow by every metric.
Except winning.
Just doesn't matter, man.
You just said it was you want him to win a game.
Let's hear you, Kyle.
Joe, it looks like Joe Burrow is a Christian. That's just what Google says. It looks like he goes to Christ Community Wesleyan in Cincinnati. Just so you know.
All right, that's good to know. Good for Joe. We'll see him in heaven one day, man. Justin Herbert is the 4th best quarterback in the league. I bounced him down from 3 actually after this past season from Lamar. But
you were doing tricks on it right now.
I think Herbert is him, dude. You can't convince me that Burrow is better than Herbert in really any way. So
all right,
yeah.
Feel free to be wrong.
Yeah, no, I mean he's played better than him every single time.
Joe,
it's just a fact.
Joe makes this segment about who do you want to win a game more, and then proceeds to pick the quarterback who doesn't win more games.
That you see now you're twisting my words there, man. You're twisting my words there, Beachy.
And you're twisting something else.
Exactly. Yep.
If you put Justin Herbert on the same exact team as Joe Burrow, he would be better. That's just a fact. That's just a fact, man.
He's not a winner.
That's just a fact. So
he doesn't have that aura.
All right.
It's
Herbert has that aura. I'll tell you that one.
Oh
Let's hear your number 5.
All right, after all the bad things I just said about Justin Herbert, I'm putting him at 5. For all the things I said about how he can't win, jokes aside, I think that's more of a Charger issue than a Justin Herbert issue. I think he has been in a lot of just weird losses that just don't fall on him. At the end of the day, I still would take Burrow ahead of him just because I think Burrow gets it done in those moments where still want to see Herbert do a little more. And
what do you want him to see? What else do you want him to see?
I want to see his defense not give up 28 unanswered points
exactly.
or whatever it was.
That's what I thought right there.
But no, like Justin Herbert, talent-wise, is up there with anybody in the NFL. He's phenomenal. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with Harbaugh because I think Harbaugh and the new staff that they brought in, I think he can easily climb up into the top 3 again, right behind Mahomes and Allen. So I'm putting Herbert at 5.
Yeah. The amount of lists where I haven't even seen him in the top 12 is actually insane. Recency bias
That's kind of
just a heck of a drug, man.
Sounds like facts to me.
You're an idiot, Kyle. Let's hear your number 5.
All right. This one is going to be very unbiased. Matthew Stafford.
Holy cow.
Yeah, okay. Relax. Okay. So I am maybe delusional, but I just maybe dude, Matt Stafford won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, okay? First of all.
I know.
He did.
But 5's a little wild.
Five's a little bit wild, Kyle. Just a
we do not care. I think that, again, going back to what this is going to be, if you want to win the game, Matt Stafford is going to give you everything that he possibly can to win a game. He's going to play concussed. He's going to play with broken bones. He's going to hit a receiver when he needs to hit him. Like, he just shows up in big-time games, and I think that it's kind of like the same reason why Burrow is in a lot of people's top 3, at least, and pretty much unanimously top 5, is like he just wins games. He shows up in the big moments, and that's why I have Stafford. Also because I'm delusional, but I'm giving Stafford my 5th spot.
Mm-hmm. See, I think it's only a little bit wild because I considered putting Stafford in my 5 spot. I really did.
Oh, come on now.
I really did, but I do have to go with Joseph Burrow. I still think he's a fantastic quarterback. I do think there's a tier drop off from Herbert to Burrow.
There's not.
There is 1,000%. There is. You cannot name one thing that Joe Burrow does better than Justin Herbert at the quarterback position.
He wins the football games.
That's a team stat, Jacob. That's a team stat.
You play to win the game.
Yeah, exactly. And Herbert and Burrow both.
Does not win the
game. You're a lost cause. Joe Burrow is a fantastic quarterback. I think he's great. I think you put him at 5, and I think I'm comfortable with that. I don't really think there's an opportunity for him to move up though anytime soon. I think if anything, he'll move down in my list depending on what some of these other quarterbacks do over the next few years. That's nothing taken away from him. I think he's awesome. And one thing I will say, there was a lot of arguments this year over like, oh, Joe Burrow's the system quarterback. Jake Browning succeeded, and I was like, did you watch Jake Browning? Like, he is not capable of doing what Burrow is capable of doing on the field. So, like,
still him though.
The zip on the ball was just so different. His accuracy, his ability to place the deep ball. I think that's one of Burrow's strengths. He knows where to put a ball 40, 50 yards down the field. It's fantastic. So I have Burrow slotted in at 5. I think he's awesome, but with a very clear drop off after 4. And I already said Stafford's at 6 for me. I'll start there. Matt Stafford is incredible. I think
he sure is.
I was worried about him, man. I thought he was low-key going to be cooked this upcoming season. I thought an elbow issue was going to linger a little bit longer than people expected, and he just came out and it just didn't matter. I think Stafford reminds me a lot of like Josh Allen without the running ability. Just gunslinger, throw the ball, can throw 40 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. We'll give you 15 to 20 picks, but who cares? Because he's 9 times out of 10 going to make the right play, put the ball exactly where it needs to be. And everybody talks about Mahomes' sidearm throws, man. Stafford, I think he was the one that kind of really began that in the modern NFL. Just his ability to make any
On
throw
G.
from any placement with his feet, his presence in the pocket, any arm angle. Stafford is him, dude. He is awesome. He's criminally underrated in the NFL. So I'm slotting Stafford in at 6.
Let's go. Beach?
I am going to take my talents to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
There's no way.
Jalen Hurts
at 6. There's
I'm
no way you're
putting
putting
Hurts
Jalen
at
Hurts at
6.
6. Oh my gosh. How?
I'm putting Hurts at 6.
How?
He's got that aura. He's him.
There's no shot.
That is
Oh
a
my
fact
God.
that
That's
I
insane.
know the Eagles struggled to end the year, and Jalen Hurts' struggles were a big part of that reason. But I still believe in his talent to get it done when it matters most.
Mhm.
I don't
Hurts
think he's a polished.
is insane.
It's very close. But this might be a little bit of like I'm looking into the future a little bit with this ranking, but I still think I'm higher on Jalen Hurts than most people.
Yeah, you are.
And I think I just trust him to get it done in those situations. So that's why I put him at 6.
That's insane, dude. Literally, you are looking through the lens of fantasy football. That is the only reason people consider Hurts to be a good quarterback.
Nope,
The
I'm
only
looking through
reason.
the lens of aura.
The only reason that anybody considers Jalen Hurts good is because he got pushed into the end zone 15 times the past 2 years.
But he's got that aura.
Yep.
He doesn't, dude. He looks like
Yes, he
oh
does.
my god, he does not, dude. You just think he's hot.
I know the guy with the nose piercing isn't talking right now.
Jalen Hurts is not the sixth best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert's not the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. So we can agree on 2 things.
He is. I'm just thankful that you have Herbert above Hurts. We can agree on that.
Okay.
Kyle, who you have at 6?
I have the opportunity to do one of the funniest things ever. But I didn't because I took my homework seriously and I have to put Justin Herbert here.
Gosh,
It
darn it.
sucks. I know, dude. I really had Jalen Hurts typed out here, and I was just like, I can't rationally say that I'd rather have Jalen Hurts before Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert takes 6. He's a very good quarterback. I just love hating on him because I like to see my friend Joe writhe in pain.
I remember when we got into an argument I think it was like a year and a half ago, Kyle, when you were actually on the Hurts over Herbert train for a while there.
That was like 3 months ago.
I'm glad that you see the light now.
Dude, I mean, that season that Hurts had last year was insane. Like,
It was just average.
No, you are a coward.
It wasn't that good.
He was throwing the ball very well. He was running the ball very well. Yes, he got a lot of 1-yard touchdowns, but that does not take away from his season. He still had a great year. We've debated Jalen Hurts versus Justin Herbert probably every episode. So I do think that it's close, more close than Joseph Hendry thinks. But yeah, I'm gonna give Herbert my 6.
He's delusional.
I'll lead off with 7 because that's where I have Hurts. Because I still think that Hurts has a lot of intangibles that are going to win you a football game. I would take him over a lot of quarterbacks if I just need to go win a game, unless it's the end of the 2023-2024 NFL season because he sucked.
I don't see it, man. I don't know what he does with his arm that impresses people. I will say he's better. He's improved, which I think is props to him from his rookie year where he was just hot garbage, but he just doesn't impress me with his arm at all, ever. So, I mean, he's mobile on the ground. I just think he's a system quarterback, man. But you started off with 7. Beach, who you got at 7?
I am taking Matthew Stafford at 7.
All right.
And just like you guys have talked about all the reasons. He can make any throw you want on the football field. He will play through anything on the football field if he's allowed to. And, I mean, he's come up clutch so many times. I mean, I know he didn't obviously have a bunch of success in Detroit, more so the team's fault than his. And then once he got to L.A. with Sean McVay, I mean, I just knew that was going to be such a good fit for him. And McVay helps him out so much. But, I mean, Stafford makes so many throws. He throws guys open, which I think is such a skill in the NFL that not everybody has. Some of the passes that guy makes where somebody's not even open, and then all of a sudden they are just because of where he's putting the ball. He's incredible with his arm, so he's going into my number 7 spot.
I like it, Beach. My number 7 is a guy that has averaged over the past 5 seasons, or full 17 season game, or full 17 game season. He's averaged 4,700 yards passing, 35 passing touchdowns. It's none other than Mr. Here We Go himself, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, here we go.
Dak Prescott is unbelievably underrated in the NFL. The hate he gets is not deserved. Over his career, he has an interception rate of under 2. He's only had he had that one offseason where he threw 15 picks.
One season, not off season.
That's the one off season. You idiot.
Get him.
Where he threw 15 picks. Dak Prescott does everything you want in a quarterback. I think he's fantastic. I was a Dak hater when he started his career. I thought he was not good, and I think he transformed into being one of the top quarterbacks in the league, obviously, as I have him at 7. I think that he has incredible arm strength. His accuracy is second to none, really. He knows when to put the ball. He's in command of that offense. I think a lot of people were interested to see how he would do losing Kellen Moore, and I think it became quite evident that Kellen Moore was the problem. I will eat my words with that. Dak Prescott is unbelievable, and I think if you put him on really any other franchise in the NFL, he would not get nearly the amount of hate that he does, and he would be considered a top 7-8 quarterback in the league pretty unanimously across the league. So I think this is a Cowboys issue, and people love to hate on the Cowboys. So I have Dak at 7. I think he's elite.
Yes.
Kyle, you don't seem to love that.
No, maybe I am like the prototypical Dak hater, but he can't play. He is not going to win you the big game. Like, dude, the amount of times I have seen this man make some of the worst decisions in clutch moments is like, you could name them, go down the line for each of the years when it's supposed to be them boys' year, but he just can never pull it together. Like, I don't think that, like, if the criteria is I need to win one football game, a big football game, Dak is like, I'm giving you guys a sneak peek. He's not in my top 10. I do not have Dak Prescott in my top 10. And I'll die on that hill because, dude, if you're telling me I need to win one game, the Martians have the death beam pointed at the earth, and you tell me you want Mr. Here We Go to throw the ball, you are insane. Yes. He's going to throw it directly to the Martians, and then we're going to explode because he has 27 picks on the year or whatever.
Oh, my gosh.
You see, you just bought into the narratives, man. You just bought in. So hard. You just bought in, man. It's just Dak. I don't know what else like he has to do to prove that he is an elite quarterback and that he
not throw the ball to the Martians.
On 4th down and 20.
I love Dak. I think he's just a criminally underrated quarterback in the NFL right now. So that's wild that he's not even in your top 10.
He's not.
That's wild. Well, who do you have at 8 then?
I guess I'll go. I have, and this hurts me to say it, I have Brock Purdy.
Wow.
Brock Purdy sighting at 8.
Holy
Dude.
cow.
I know.
Yo,
you guys are
You're going to take Brock Purdy over Dak Prescott.
Correct.
Yep. How?
How?
What does he do better? What does he do better than Dak in literally any area of the game?
He makes the right decisions. Like,
he does not even do that. The amount of balls that Purdy should get picked off that got dropped this season, it's unbelievable. He throws the ball to the defense more than any other quarterback that I've seen, I think.
No, Dak last year, not this year. He had a good year this year. I will say that. But you are getting absolutely bamboozled by recency bias because he literally had 23 touchdowns and 15 picks in 2022 with 2,800 yards. Bad.
Mhm.
That's so bad. And
Yeah.
yes, he had an insane regular season. He threw for, what was it? I don't even remember, like 44,000, 5,000 yards. And
Mhm.
he threw less than 10 picks. He had a good regular season. But I'm telling you, if it's by the criteria, you want to win one game, I'd rather have Purdy.
Mhm.
Purdy gets overhated because he has good weapons, but he makes the right choices most of the time. So I'm putting him at 8. I think that watching him throughout the
He just
playoffs, he generally made the right choices.
I just don't. He just doesn't make. Dude, the amount of balls that should have gotten picked by Purdy all year long. I think I think he throws to a spot. He's the definition of a system quarterback. I think he's solid, but he doesn't do anything better than Dak Prescott. And like, you're kind of insane for thinking that he does. That's wild. At 8, Brock Purdy.
That is.
I'm standing on business on this take.
That's insane.
I'm standing
dude.
on business.
This is pretty wild. I'm with Joe on this one, which
Man.
I guess will lead me to my number 8, which is Dakota Prescott.
Yes, thank you.
No.
I'm with Joe on this one. Like, I know his 2022 season was rough, yes, but the season he had this year was a really great season. And more times than not, Dak Prescott will win you games. Now, I'm with Kyle in the sense that he has not shown up in the biggest and brightest moments that he's played in so far. But I don't think all of that blame necessarily has to go to him, but some of it definitely does. But with that being said, he's still played an elite level this regular season. He's played at an above average level most of his career. He really does what you want a quarterback to do in the National Football League. And so I think putting him at 8 is right where he should be. I don't agree with Kyle that he shouldn't be in the top 10 just because I think he wins a bunch of games and he plays really well in most of those games, but I don't know. I'm not keen to put him up higher than that, but I think this feels right for about where he should go.
Yeah, I think 7 to 8 feels about the max that Dak could get to, but I think any lower than 10, that's just wrong, man. I'm still rattled by that Brock Purdy at 8, dude. I don't understand.
Yeah, Brock Purdy at 8 is
all.
pretty crazy.
I just don't get it, man. I don't understand what he does to warrant being above several of these other guys on this list, and that's not even a Dak issue.
Here's what I will give. I'll give an NBA player comp to Dak. I think that he is a poor man's version of Russell Westbrook. I think he's going to put up numbers in the regular season. If all goes well, it's going to be like Russ is going to get his triple doubles. He's going to have his highlights. He's going to make sick plays. But then when you need to win a game, especially in the playoffs, Dak is going to crumble. I would rather have Purdy throwing the ball. Like if I need to win one game, I'd rather have Purdy throwing the ball than Dak. 100% every time. The amount of big games that this guy's lost has been unreal. And yes, I know you need a whole organization functioning well to win a game, but he has been part of the problem for years. So
yeah, I mean, I'll admit Dak hasn't had the best playoff resume. I'm more than willing to admit that. It's just insane to me that in any world, any reality, that you can look at Purdy and Dak and put them on the same squad and say, all right, go win me this game, or go play at an above average level and not give it to Dak, and say and watching them both side by side and say yeah, Dak is not better than Purdy at throwing the football, at doing what he does. I just don't understand what Purdy does better than Dak whatsoever. But I think to me, it's more just a Purdy at 8 is wild. But anyway, let's move on. I'll move into my number 8. I have Kyler Murray. This dude, I think, is probably the most slept-on quarterback in the NFL. I think I'll stand on that. Kyler Murray, I think if he was 6'2", I think the people would consistently put him within their top 7. I think it's just because he's 5'10" and played Call of Duty for a little bit. People just want to hate on him. He's done nothing but succeed, despite realistically a terrible situation in in Arizona for a long time. Like, he's put up over 4,000 total yards and 30 touchdowns. I think nearly every season he's been fully healthy. Kyler can make every single throw that some of these quarterbacks above him can make. And just because he's 5'10", people don't think he can. It's wild to me. I think I was telling Beach this season watching Kyler, like, Lamar is a lot of fun to watch. And I think he's got this really awesome, like, straight line speed and the ability to make people move when he runs north to south. Kyler's ability to move east to west, sideline to sideline, and avoid rushers and would-be tacklers, nobody can do what he does there. Kyler Murray is a special talent that was 1,000% worth that number one pick. He has an incredible arm, and he just adds rushing ability on top of it. Man, I'm really excited to see what Kyler's going to do in this new coaching staff that the Cardinals have. Not to mention that the stat came out just recently that they were a top 10 offense in the last 8 games of the year with Kyler Murray. Kyler's going to prove a lot of people wrong this next season and over the course of his career. And Kyler is an elite top 10 quarterback. That's what I got to say. I put him at 8. I think he's incredible, and I think he can only go up.
I love that take.
No.
I'm incredibly biased, but I love that take.
I know you do.
Well, Beach, do you have Kyler at 9?
I do not.
Wow.
Wow, that's surprising to me. Not gonna lie.
I have none other than professing Christian himself, CJ Stroud.
Come on now.
Let's go.
And I'm just sold on him. Like, all the things that I saw from him this rookie year, like, he had probably the best rookie year a quarterback's had ever. He's already played well in big moments. He's made every single throw you wanted to do. He doesn't turn over the football. Like, the only reason I'm sticking him at 9 is simply because he's played 1 year. But he was incredible this year. And I don't see any world where, like, this is where he's at. Like, I think he's just going to continue to get better and better as he gets more experience under his belt. And so I'm putting him at 9, and I feel comfortable with that. Truthfully, I think you could even stick him higher based on the year he had.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Kyle, who do you have at 9?
I also have CJ Stroud, professing Christian.
Nice.
CJ Stroud. Let's go,
Yes.
Beach. We are aligned. Brock
are.
Purdy is also a professing Christian, unlike Justin Herbert, in case anyone was wondering. But I hesitated to put him at 9 because I felt like this was recency bias, but it's pretty undeniable what he did in his first year, especially to rob Puka of his rightful Offensive Rookie of the Year award. But yeah, no, it's been some time since we've had a promising young Houston Texans quarterback that looked like there was no end in sight. I hope that nothing happens to him. I hope that nothing off the field happens to where he's not promising and young and talented anymore.
Oh, great heavens.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
I also hope that.
Just stay away from the massage parlors. Oh, my gosh.
I like the pick. My number 9, I have Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence took a lot of heat this year. That wasn't necessarily warranted. There was a video that came out recently, and there was probably like a month ago. Lawrence had, I think it was like 15 to 20 touchdown passes just ripped out of his arms by receivers either dropping the ball or inability to get 2 feet down in the end zone. It was unbelievable to watch. And just like, I think Lawrence is another one of those really special talents that I think because of the dip this year in the box score production, people are going to drop him pretty low on their list. And I just don't think it's right. I think Lawrence is still an upper echelon talent in the league. I expect him to cut his interceptions big time next year and his touchdown numbers to go way up. I really do think he's a fantastic talent. He played injured this year. I mean, I don't remember if you guys watched. There was that picture where he's like taking a hit to the face and the dude's like face is distorted. Like, those are the kind of hits he was taking this year. He was beat up. Like, just ribs were shot all year long. So I think a lot of the hate that Trevor Lawrence gets make people forget him. And I'm still really bought into the talent that he is, the production. I mean, the back half of that 2022 season was incredible. That second half against the Chargers that he put up, fantastic. Like, you just can't ask for more from a quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence is the real deal. I think people are going to see that very soon as he heads into year 4. So Trevor Lawrence is my number 9 right now.
Beach,
You don't like
right. Go.
Rounding out my top 10 is none other than my favorite 5'10" quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Calamari.
And I love calamari.
He's fantastic.
Just like all the reasons Joe mentioned earlier, I think a lot of people just completely forgot how good he was. One, because of the whole contract negotiation the previous year and the whole Cliff Kingsbury debacle that last season was. And then obviously coming off a torn ACL, like, people just completely wrote him off this year. And just like in the words of Geno Smith, he didn't write back. When he came back to the Cardinals looked like a completely different team. The talent still wasn't there for them to consistently win games, but they went from being just non-competitive in some of the games to basically giving every single team they played a legitimate run for their money. And that included games against the 49ers, against the Seahawks. Obviously, they beat the Steelers. They beat Philadelphia, and he probably played his best game of his career in that second half there.
Yeah.
Just like Joe said, he can make every throw, and then his running ability to make people miss and to get outside of the pocket and to get around defenders. Like, I still think back to that run against Atlanta where he runs about 30 yards backwards just to get, a 10-yard gain and get a big-time first down that team really needed. So he can make a variety of different plays, and he just pulls some things out of a hat that you would never think anybody could do. So
yeah,
he goes to my number 10 spot, and I'm excited to see where he goes.
I'm gonna rave on Kyler a little bit more, man. I still think about that Raiders game, in 2022. Like, they were down 23 points at the half or something like that, and he brought him back.
It was 20 to nothing.
Yeah, like he brought him back, and right at the end threw that touchdown. Ran for that touchdown, and then on the 2-point conversion was making people miss left and right, and then threw a dart to the back of the end zone, right between 3 Raiders defenders.
Yeah,
incredible play. And I think he's going to ascend another year removed from that torn ACL, more familiarity with that scheme, and probably getting more weapons in that offense. Man, I am so high right now on Kyler Murray.
Marvin Harrison, please be a Cardinal.
I can't begin.
He's a Patriot.
No.
Yeah, Kyler is fantastic, but that's enough of Kyler Murray. Kyle, who do you have at 10?
Well, this sucks because I had Kyler, so I'm just gonna say what they said. Yeah, Kyler's good.
I love it. That's good. Number 10, I have CJ Stroud. I think you guys essentially named everything. I think the only reason, like Beach said, that he's not higher probably is because he's only played one season. I think back to, there's a couple games this season where you could tell he was a rookie. There was one game where he was just ugly loss to Carolina. There was one game where again to New Orleans they won, but it was not pretty. But then you got games against Tampa Bay, right, where he throws 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. Against Jacksonville, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. CJ Stroud is the real deal. And you can tell that from one season. He has all the talent in the world. I'm really excited to see what they do moving forward. I would love to see him. I'm curious to see what happens when offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick presumably becomes a head coach next season, and seeing what the change in offensive coordinator is like for him. But that being said, I think he has the talent to overcome that. I think he's a guy that can probably rise on this list pretty quickly. I love CJ Stroud. I honestly think that he has the ceiling to jump above that Burrow-Stafford tier I have and be in competition with Herbert and Lamar for that 3 to 5 spot within the next couple seasons. So,
wow. Yeah.
Like
Psalms 20 verse 4 says, "May God give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed." CJ Stroud has clearly taken this to heart, unlike Justin Herbert.
Oh my gosh. And for that reason, we're putting Stroud over Herbert.
Correct. Are we at 11 right now?
We are at 11.
Yes.
Kyle, who do you have at 11?
All right. I am only putting this quarterback here because I'm running out of options, and that would be Dak Prescott.
Oh, my gosh.
Dak at 11.
Oh, man.
Dak at 11. I think that he is just like, I mean, I don't want to say the rest of who I'm about to list, but I think he's in a tier of just like this B tier of quarterbacks. I think that he puts up gaudy stats in the regular season. He's not going to win football games. I've made my opinion clear, but Dak at 11, I feel really good about that.
Wow. That's wild to me still.
Yeah. Purdy at 8 still bugs me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get off that, man. That's just not going to happen.
I joked about putting Brock Purdy at 5, and then Kyle put him at 8, so that's insane.
Kyle doesn't know ball.
I know ball.
Does.
I can't wait for this next year when Purdy's like, again, first in MVP voting. Yeah, you guys forget. He almost won the MVP award this year. And I'm
getting so did Dak.
It doesn't move me. So did Dak.
Dak did not. Dak was not even
second. Dak was second in the MVP voting.
Yep.
What?
He almost won it.
Yes.
Yep. He almost won it.
Mickey Mouse award. Yeah. I don't know if that's real. Is it actually a real thing?
It is. It 100% is, man. Dak was number 2.
I don't believe
it. I think Purdy was 4th, I think. I think Allen was 3rd.
That's crazy.
Brock Purdy
who do you have at 11?
I have none other than Trevor Lawrence.
Mr. Hare
Just like Joe said, I believe in the talent. I think he was playing injured this year. I think there was just a lot of unfortunate things that happened, including high ankle sprains and all the other injuries that he was battling. He's incredible when he's healthy, and he can make any type of throw you want. He can use his legs when he needs to as a weapon. He's a big mobile quarterback. Like he's one of the, like if you were to build a quarterback, you'd build him to look like Trevor Lawrence, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he's going to continue to ascend, and I'm excited to see what he can do next year. But just being a little bit of a down year, I'm sticking him at 11.
Yeah, I think that's good. My number 11, I have Jordan Love. I think this one's a bet on the talent. That back half of the season this year, the last 10 games or so, actually shout out Brandon Staley. I think he made Jordan Love, but after that game against us, like Jordan Love just cooked us, which he hadn't really done at all. But the back half of the year, man, Jordan Love, it was the last 8 games of the year. Right, so these stats looked like prime Aaron Rodgers. Right, he was on pace for 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, 2 picks. That is incredible, right? And they obviously went on a good streak there at the end, won most of their games, made the playoffs, beat the Cowboys. I think Jordan Love, his ability to make throws backpedaling was fascinating to watch. Like I've never seen a quarterback backpedal so much and just be able to launch the ball 50 yards down the field still. I think the combo with him and LaFleur is incredible. It's a really beautiful blend of wonderful offensive scheme and quarterback talent. Jordan Love is up there with really anybody on this list of being able to make any throw on the field. There were questions coming in over if he was accurate enough and whatnot. And I think he answered those the back half of the season. I think it clicked being in the NFL. He was always a project coming into the NFL. So, and I think moving forward, Love is really going to be one of those upper echelon quarterbacks and has the ability to move into that top 10 for sure. So I really do love what Love brings to the table.
I like that. He had a great second half of the season.
Yeah.
And so with it basically being his first full year starting, it seems like he's going to continue to ascend. So it'll be if the Packers somehow did this again where they got another quarterback and they sat him for a few years and he turns out to be an MVP candidate, I'm going to lose my mind.
Jordan Love is currently my poster boy for my narrative that you should draft a quarterback in the first round and sit him for 2 years, regardless of who he is. So anyway, moving on. That was we went through our 11s, right?
Yep, that was 11.
All right. Last one on the list. Kyle, you wanna kick us off with number 12 for you?
I sure do. This was what I spent the most time on, this number right here, because there's so many.
I have about 4 quarterbacks I could stick right here and feel pretty good about it.
Count. Let's do this. Give me your honorable mentions first before you go with who's at 12.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
I'm going to start with my least honorable to more honorable mentions. So the least honorable mention I have, and Joe will like this one, is to throw the ball to Tyreeka. He is not that good at football. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I like that. I don't know his ball.
I had him at like 15, 16, honestly. Like, I seriously think that he's like the most mid quarterback in the NFL. Then a step up in honor, I have Kirk professing Christian Cousins. It sucks that he is hurt. It hurts my heart. If he's healthy, he's probably in the top 10 for me, honestly. But that injury, it broke my heart. And then that leads me to, I had like a 3-way tie in my brain, but I will give this to, I'm still unsure. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go with what I wrote down, and then I'll tell you guys with what I was struggling with. At 12, I have Trevor Lawrence, but right there, I was really struggling with whether or not to give it to Jared Goff. It was a hard choice for me because I think that Goff played super well this year and has played well since he's been on the Lions, but he's gotten better every year. Trevor Lawrence, just again, by the criteria, if I want to win a football game, I think I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback than Jared Goff. Jared Goff is very prone to making probably some of the worst decisions ever made from the quarterback position. Trevor Lawrence will not. But so I'm giving my 12 to Trevor Lawrence, but right there was Jared Goff for me.
I like it. You take Goff or Love?
I had Love at 14. I had Goff at 13. I had Kirk at 15 and Tua at 16.
I like it.
That's kind of where I was at too. In terms of all those quarterbacks, I had Tua throw the ball to Jalen Waddle, and the other one I had up there though that you didn't mention, I had Baker Mayfield really close as well as one of my honorable mentions. I think he had a great bounce back season with Tampa Bay. Not a perfect quarterback by any stretch, but he's up there, as well as Jordan Love. But I jumped off the cliff and I gave it to Jared Goff. Jared Goff is my 12th best quarterback in the National Football League. And I think the biggest thing is, just like you said, Kyle, there's going to be times where he's maddening and he makes a dumb throw, but then there's going to be times where you see that talent where he makes an incredible throw and you're like, well, no wonder he was the number one pick in 2016 or whatever year it was. And that's why I've got him there. He won a lot of games. He's looked great in Detroit. He's kind of had a, rejuvenized his career there. After it looked like he was going to be, sailing out of the NFL after the Rams stint. But I'm really happy for him. He had a great year this year, and he gets my number 12 spot.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good Beach. For me, from 11 to 12, there's a pretty steep drop-off, in my opinion. I think those top 11 guys, to me, are guys that either can win you a Super Bowl or you can win one with. From 12 on, I'm a little bit more wary of. I have Jalen Hurts, though, at 12. I forgot
you had Jalen Hurts.
I have Jalen Hurts at 12.
Wow.
I think he's just a part of a system. He doesn't impress me with his throws. Really, the only reason that I put him above some of these other guys is because of his running ability. I think that is unique. I think he's a very powerful runner, which is something that you don't often see out of the quarterback position. I think he's a very effective runner, which I think definitely something you have to game plan for as a defense. But he just doesn't wow me with his arm. Doesn't do anything super impressive to me there. So. I have him above. I have Jared Goff at 13, though. I had Geno at 14. I really like what Geno brings to the table. Purdy at 15, Tua at 16. I'll just throw Baker in there at 17 as well. I think all those guys, though, are kind of in the same list where it's like, I think you are you are mainly a part of a system. That is what makes you succeed. I think that different guys have different traits that allow them to take a system to a different level. But without that system, you realistically won't succeed. But Hurts rounds me out over at 12. So
Wow.
yeah,
I think
Jalen
His high
Hurts.
is 6 and his low is 12.
Go ahead, Beach. Sorry.
I was just saying, we have him as high as 6 and we have him as low as 12.
Yeah.
That's probably our biggest discrepancy, I would say, between our
No, I don't know. Brock Purdy is a pretty large discrepancy.
Okay, actually,
man.
I forgot about Brock Purdy.
I think that Jalen Hurts at 12 is way crazier than Brock Purdy at 8.
I don't think so. I could make the same arguments you make against Dak to Jalen Hurts.
No.
The exact same. I mean, Hurts threw 15 picks this year to 23 touchdowns. Like, whoop-de-doo. Cool.
Like, but he's got that aura.
He just doesn't. He's just an average quarterback, man.
No.
Oh man, this is wild. Let's
before we close, where do you guys have Brock?
I have him at 15.
I was gonna say he's in my top half for sure. But yeah, he's probably, if I were to put him, I'd probably put him right at like 14 right now, maybe 13 or 14. He was in that other group as well. My honorable mentions.
Do you take him over Tua?
Yes. I think Brock can do more than Tua outside of structure. I think they're just basically the same player throwing the ball, but I just think Brock can create a little bit more. So,
I guess we need to revisit these. I look forward to revisiting these mid-season next year, and Brock is the front runner for the MVP, and I emailed on Joe.
Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts are front runners for MVP, and meanwhile Justin Herbert still isn't winning games. He's going 6-6.
No, I will be gritting off the top of SoFi if this is the case.
Well, you're a Chargers fan, so get ready.
Well, to round it out, Beach had Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Stafford, Dak, Stroud, Kyler, Lawrence, and Goff. Kyle had Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Stafford, Herbert, Hurts, Brock, Purdy, Stroud, Kyler, Dak, and Lawrence. I had Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Burrow, Stafford, Dak, Kyler, Lawrence, Stroud, Love, and Hurts. So those are our lists, fellas. Actually, I have a question. Actually, where would you slot Caleb Williams right now? He's the presumed number 1 pick this next season. Where would you guys slot him in? This changes the conversation a little bit, looks a little bit more towards the future. Where would you slot him in, though, within your top quarterbacks? Does he get into the top 12? Is he right around that 13 to 15 range? What do you guys think?
I think he's going to bust. That's my hot take. I think he's going to bust. So I put him at 31.
Drake May QB1?
No.
Is that what I'm hearing from you, Kyle?
That's not what you're hearing.
Is that what I'm hearing? Drake May is QB1?
Nobody's hearing that.
Drake May is QB1. That's all I got to say.
Drake May very well might be QB3.
No, he's not.
That's a fact. Jaden Daniels. As much as it pains me to say it,
is just Wiley Coyote out there. He's awesome. Dude takes the worst hits. It's hilarious.
Dude, he's
really where would you put Caleb Williams?
Gosh, it's hard to say where I would put him. If we're going based on potential and what I think he's going to be, I'm putting him in the top 10.
Wow,
that's insane.
That's interesting. You'd bump out Kyler.
Okay, I'm putting him at 11. I'm not bumping out Kyler.
Oh, that's funny.
But I would think, like, legitimately, I would take him. I'd rather have him over Goff. I'd rather probably have him over Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
And then just depending on how he looks in the NFL, I think you could make a case that I would rather have him over the next 5 guys I had on my list. Especially Justin Herbert.
Though, if he goes to the Bears, though, do we think that he's exiled? Do we think that he's cooked, or what do you think?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think the Bears have not been a good franchise. Justin Fields is not a good quarterback. Justin Fields deserves a lot more blame than people are willing to give him. He's not good. Caleb Williams, I think, is a guy that can succeed despite a tough situation, I think. I also think Drake May could do the same thing. For what it's worth, I would put May and Williams probably around that 12, 13 spot.
It's kind of a wild take. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
So, yeah, I don't I think Williams goes to the Bears, and I think he succeeds. I think they got good weapons. So, but
as long as Maserati Marv's in red and white next year, I don't care.
He will be in red, white, and blue.
No,
He sure will.
he will not. Patriots need a quarterback.
Let's hope for Beach's sake that Maserati Marv ends up on the. All right. Well, you guys got anything else for on these quarterbacks, gentlemen?
No, this was fun then.
Yeah,
this
was
fun. It was good. We'll be doing other positions. Yeah, we'll be doing running backs here soon. That's a tough list, man. I was doing my running backs the other day. That is a brutal list.
We should do receivers before running backs. Running backs are systems, in my opinion.
If we do receivers, man, we're gonna have to extend it to like 25 because there are so many good ones. That one's even harder. But
no, we should do 12. Make it spicy. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to, man. But all right, well, that's everything from you guys. You guys can find us for more on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at That's Bingo Pod. We will see you guys next time. Beach, bear down.
Bear down. Go Suns.
Go Rams.
Kyler Murray for MVP.
Deuces.
Bye.